Notification, so I guess we're live. All right, guys, welcome to our next episode of Backstop Banter. And as you can tell, we look a lot prettier today. And I kind of feel weird being on this left side, but Connie is not with us today. He is on his vacation from a 20-year-old. I don't know how a 20-year-old really needs a vacation, but it's Connie. He's at that generation where it's like I need everything I can get. But we love you, Connie. Safe travels. He's been in chat with me a little bit, and he's through Virginia, heading out to the North Carolina we talked about on our earlier shows, where he's going to be playing some golf. But we are lucky to have Perry in here with us, and of course, Perry, he's been on the show before talking about how Unwrapped has came about. I call him our godfather of Unwrapped. He is the face. He is the main man. So, Perry, welcome to the show, and thank you for filling in as a co-host for me today.
Oh, man, I love being here. Of course, with my boy Michael here. Connie, I hope you're having a great trip. As you said, Michael, we have gotten a lot better looking on this show. I am coming in hot. I obviously need a little bit more of a tan. I started it off today at the pool. So, we're getting there. I'm a little pasty, but pretty as ever, ready to rock, talk some baseball. It's been a hell of a season, so I'm excited to come on and not just guest, but come and co-host with you.
But before we get in, Perry, as I said, he's the godfather of Unwrapped. He is the main man. If you wouldn't care, go ahead and take care of some of the ads. We'll get on into this. As we always say, got to pay the bills.
Sure.
Perry, be coming straight from your mouth. You know the best of these ads anyways.
Absolutely. You should always make sure to find all of us on social media to start, of course. Unwrapped Sports, Twitter, Instagram. Find us every single place. You can find us. Yeah, YouTube, Facebook. Go like our pages, subscribe to our channels. A lot of great content from a lot of great people on there. So check us out all over the place. You can see my @ name, see Michael's @ name, and everyone else through Unwrapped Sports. You can see a lot of stuff posted there. Of course, if you enjoy our content, patreon.com/Unwrapped Sports. It's a great place here. It's fantastic. You're able to, really support us. It's going to be $5 a month, $10 a month. And at the end of the day, you're really helping us grow. You are also getting a lot of benefits. If you do the $1 a month, it's really just to help us out, really show support. It's fantastic. And for the Unwrapped family, that's when you start seeing the perks. $5, you get 10% off all of our Teespring shop. You also get entered into our $10 Amazon card giveaway, as well as our exclusive Discord chat, doing gambling picks every day. There's a lot of us in there doing different sports, different tactics, making a lot of money. I'm telling you, dead serious. If it's not me that day, Corey's hot, or someone else, or some of the amazing members that have joined have just put such amazing input into us there. And it's been really, really successful. So $5 you're in there, $10, everything you just heard, it now turns into 20% off of the Teespring shop. And we give out a signed jersey or memorabilia piece every single month. $10, it's still very early for us. So get in there. You're more than very likely to win one. So yeah, so sign up, guaranteed. Patreon.com, Unwrapped Sports. We really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you for that, Perry. So flawless too, by the way. I could never, ever do that. So getting into our first topic, I was actually, while you were saying that, trying to pull up his game today, as we now have Wander Franco into the MLB. Welcome. Yesterday was his debut, and what a phenomenal start. Did you get to watch any of the game? I myself didn't. I caught some of the highlights.
Yeah, just the highlights. Obviously He was all over SportsCenter, all over Twitter.
Oh, yes.
We've been waiting for him to come up. It was a really good time to bring him up during the season right now, because it's not that tail end. It's still a lot of impact to be left with not really too many games played. How many have we played at this point? Like 60?
We're over 60. Yeah, we're probably almost to 70 now.
60, 65.
In our fantasy league, I actually drafted him from the beginning because I thought he would start the season, but had to drop him quite a bit. And after yesterday's game, and just to read off some of the stats, he went 2 for 4, 3 RBIs, a base on balls, 2 runs scored, and a very sweet double. But I even was really impressed with his defense. He actually turned a double play almost single-handedly. I think he played third base. It might have been at short. I can't remember. I think it's shortstop. But hit to him. He was able to try to tag a runner. The runner went out of the baseline, so automatic out. Then he threw over the first in enough time to still get the out. So it's sweet seeing that. So I thought, hey, there's no way he's still available in fantasy baseball. So I went to the app, looked there, and, there he was, just sitting in free agency. So I went ahead and picked him up.
Yeah,
put him in the starting lineup.
Great start. He's had a great start, and I love his swag. That's the thing about me.
Yeah.
Like when I saw him with those highlights, he's pounding the chest, pointing up to the sky, pointing up to the audience. Everybody there in the crowd's going crazy. You could tell that he lives for that really big spotlight. So I enjoy seeing him. He hit that home run. It was really exciting. I believe it was his second at bat. The first one, he got a walk. Second one, first pitch, just dings that out of the park. So, well, how else could you get off to a better start than that? Like you mentioned, really good with the glove, really smart out there. So I like him. I think he's a big piece for the Rays here. And the Rays are a really good team, although they abandoned
already.
They didn't re-sign Snell, or they, got rid of him. And with that being said, they've still found a way to have pretty solid pitching. Their hitting's phenomenal. And now you add a piece like Wander up here. The Rays are, I think, the team to beat in their division right now.
Oh, definitely. And, me and Connie, we always talk about this because obviously I'm a super Cincinnati Reds fan and I always hate it because we're a small market team. It's hard for us to ever keep guys. We signed Joey Votto, I think, out of like 2 or 3 years for like a 10, 15-year deal just to keep him. That's the deals that we have to make. But then you have Tampa Bay that is a small market team that still somehow is year in, year out competitive. I don't know how they do it. They just got a great front office, a great team that helps their prospects to actually mature and learn the game. And I'm just kudos to them. I wish we could do that. I really do. Of course, we've got Nick Castellanos, which I hope that we
I'll be real with you here. I'm a Dodgers fan, and obviously being in a big market, that helps us when it comes to luring people in. But with that being said, I think the success that the Dodgers have had, regardless of the market that they're in, with that farm system is unbelievably impressive. From Seager to Bellinger to Muncy to now McKinstry and Lux. There's just so many people, Bueller, Urias, so many people that they've groomed. So I think it's just a testament to the farm system, the scouting. And then when it comes to signing the big free agents, that's when you definitely look at the market size and things like that. I think that's when it comes into it more. But I think it's just a testament to how amazing their scouting department is and how great their farm system is with the progression of their players.
Oh, yeah. And, that's one thing I always fuss with Connie, which is kind of weird from my 2 co-hosts that I've ever had basically on here. And, of course, I've had Garrett, who's a Chicago Cubs fan. But I go from the Yankee, the one who lives in New York who has the Yankees. Now I'm coming over here to Perry, who lives in L.A. Now we're talking Dodgers. But, I will say the 2 teams are different. I feel like the Yankees don't have much of a farm system. And with the didn't say we we're going to talk into this. Right. Connie will beg to differ. But, they do the veterans. They sign the other players that – and I like that about the Dodgers. I will say that I like a farm team that comes up and plays, even if you are a big market. So kudos to the Dodgers on that.
I agreed.
Of course, Franco, unfortunately, today is I think 1 for 3 or 0 for 4. I'm not for sure. I tried to glance at it a second ago. Maybe it was 3 strikeouts I've seen. So we got
it was a low scoring game too. They won 1-0, but it definitely didn't say he was
a wild pitch too.
He was 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. So definitely comes back to earth a little bit, but doesn't matter. He's young. He's here. So I think even as next game, I could almost guarantee you the guy gets a hit. There's no way.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like he's going to learn really quick and through experiences mainly.
And I'll tell you, watching and seeing the hype of this guy, which I'm totally hyped for him too already, has got me really into baseball cards again. Just the value of the cards, and I've kind of been chatting with that in our group chat with Corey, who shout out Corey, guys. Hopefully I can try to share this at 8:30 Eastern time on my time, a link of Corey who plays basketball in Australia, correct?
300th game. Yeah, he's on the Eastern Suns.
Yeah, so 8:30 tonight in Australia, 8:30 a.m. here in Eastern. He will be playing in his 300th game. So shout out, Corey. Good luck to you. And I told him he's got to at least make 10 threes for 30 points just to carry that on. So
and the arrow, let's go from deep. I want to see Steph Curry range. Steph Curry range.
There we go.
Shoot it from the parking lot.
You know what, Corey? First shot has to be from half court. I don't care what coach says. He's not going to take you out. Let's just be honest. It's your 300th. It doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
All right. So hot topic that's going on now is, and what I've just been referring to is the sticky hands. We all know what's been going on from Trevor Bauer holding his hand in the ball, just sticking there, which is obviously epic for me, and just everything that's going on now. Now, as we have progressed in the new change rule, let me back up because it was already a rule. It's just reinforcing the rule now. how do you feel it's been playing out before we go into the ejection and that whole 9 yards?
Absolutely awful. I think we are all in agreement that although we love the game of baseball, I don't think any of us love the league as a whole. None of us are fans of the leadership of the league, how they implement new rule changes, the lack of rule changes when we ask for those rule changes. It seems like when you ask for black, they give you white. When you ask for white, they give you black. It doesn't matter what you're thinking logically, it's not going to happen like that. So is this something that we should be aware of? The sicky stuff? Is this something that we should be looking to crack down on? The Astros cheating scandal, if someone's taking advantage of these rules, yes, absolutely. I want to know that everyone is playing an honest game. But sunscreen and rosin, are you fucking kidding me? Excuse my language, but sunscreen and rosin, that's a joke. I think that it's the duct or whatever it's called, that really bad stuff. I think that at the end of the day, we're looking to outlaw that. But when it comes to not just sunscreen, spider tack, exactly. Yeah. But even with sweat and rosin, like Bauer has shown us plenty of times, you're able to stick the ball there, So I feel like this is just a really, excuse the funny ones here, but it's a very sticky situation. And I think it, of course, could have been handled okay. It could have been put up to a vote. It could have been done in the beginning of the season, which is the obvious thing to do, to just for a fourth of the season, kind of put the halt on there, start patting down pitchers and making these umpires, like Bauer said, pretty much the judge, jury, and executioner. And that's not what they're trained to do. They already are human as is and have to watch so many calls and have to rely on replay for some of these things because it's clearly an imperfect game. And now you're going to tell me that you want them to go out there and do at least 2 checks on every pitcher. How are they reacting? Exactly the way they should. The way I would. Rip my belt off, take my pants off like Sergio Romo. Check it here. I'm good. You want this off too? You want this off too? Just take it all, like at this point. And then you make a joke out of them. And are you doing your job? Yes. Are you going against the rules? No. Are you making a little bit of a scene? Absolutely. But it's not like, you're following the rules. You're pitching, you're doing your job, and then they're coming up to you, and this is just really weird, and it has a lot of animosity between the players and the league, and now the umpires are involved in this weird little triangle of animosity, and it's like we mentioned, it's just not executed correctly. It's awkward timing. It's all wrong. And again, I think baseball is one of those sports where you need to have a commissioner that's played the game. I think you can make an excuse because think about it. I don't think Adam Silver's played the game of basketball. I don't think Goodell's played football. I might be wrong, but at least at the professional level. So right. I feel like maybe it's not a requirement to be a good leader like that, but I don't know if that's just with Manfred or if it would be the same way with anybody. But I feel like someone that's played the game would know about how this affects pitchers, would know how to relate to players and how to drop the hammer when you need to, but the right way. And Manfred, 10 out of 10 times, does it the wrong way.
And, just not even thinking about it, really, just kind of looking at on top. And, of course, Connie, we got another comment coming in. Yes, totally agree. I don't know what he's looking at. I pulled it up there. And then here's another comment coming in. I don't understand how umps don't talk to media.
I feel so bad for the umps too. Like they're put in this really shit situation and it's not on them. Like you can't get that upset with them. They're the ones that are following the rules. So it just,
And what's even crazy, it's not going to be a certain standard. There's no way that you can keep it. Perry, you could see something and think, okay, that's unacceptable and throw the pitcher out immediately for that. I see the same thing and think, okay, well, that's just Sweat and Roslin. He just mixed it up well. Okay, that's fine. So it's going to be so inconsistent, and that's what's going to be crazy. And I shout out to Trevor Bauer for his YouTube channel that he's got going on there. Wonderful information. What a y'all says on there. I did not know you can take Roslin and Sweat and even a little bit of sunscreen to do what he talked about you can do. Like he was talking about how even to just the touch, it doesn't feel like it's anything, but you can actually manipulate it to where it actually is sticky.
So Tyler Glass now being very vocal, and some people were upset with him thinking he's complaining, but he's not complaining. He's just being very transparent and vocal, and he's upset and he hurt himself. So at the end of the day, maybe he's the only one that's going to go down like that. But he was very clear, like, I felt different after my outing. I was throwing the same pitches I always throw, the same way I always throw it, the way I was taught to throw it, the way that it's always been. And now you need me to do this other thing. I'm gripping this ball as like a stress ball, as tight as I physically can, and I'm stressing all these other muscles and all these other areas in my hand. And at that point, that's detrimental to their success and their career. Without a hand that's really 100%, without an arm that's really rocking, these pitchers have nothing. That's their everything. Just like a kicker. You heard a kicker's leg. What's he supposed to do? He's not a prestigious athlete. Now he could switch to tight end like Tim Tebow. Like you're a kick, that's your gold. So you need to take care of it. So I feel like when it comes to especially starting pitchers who have to go out there and not just pitch an inning, 20 pitches, maybe 25 pitches, but a whole 6 to 8 innings is what you're hoping for out of your starting pitcher every single time. You're hoping for and expecting at least 4 or 5 innings. That's going to put a strain on these guys after a while. And it's just, you work out one way and then someone goes, nope, can't work out that way anymore. And you have to switch to this way the next day. You're going to feel it. It's just
the
different.
Next day too. The next day.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's probably my biggest thing about this whole thing is, and Trevor Bauer, again, who I'm going to probably mention quite a bit while we talk about this, is he talked about how this rule was already set in place, so that's why they can't complain about it or say anything or try to get anything switched because it was already there. They just did not care about it. So they go through the offseason this year and so many more before and train to be this way with the products that they use, whatever it may be, and then instantly say, now you can't do that. And he even talked about how you were saying to the grip of the ball, like with the sticky stuff, you don't have to keep and he was talking about his forearm, have to keep the grip on it for the whole 100% of the pitch. You could release some and then cause the spin at the end and grip it. And he said that's so much more stress on all these muscles.
You're a shot putter now at this point.
Yeah.
Instead of just flinging it, like you're pushing this ball. It's very awkward.
I wonder if pitch counts will start coming down just for all these starters, because that's going to be more stress. So, I mean, that's something to kind of watch and see how it goes. But as we talked about this, the main thing that we wanted to bring up, or at least myself, was Joe Girardi. There we go. Which is going to show us a new avenue that this can play, a new strategy, I think, a mental game that he can play with the pitchers. Phillies against, I think it was
Scherzer.
Thank you. Scherzer. And yes. And I challenge the pitch or challenge the umpires to go and check him. I say challenge. That's because I feel like it should almost be like a challenge of football. But to go investigate pitcher and went out there mid-inning and actually had to do their investigation and ended up Joe got thrown out during this spat, if you will, that they had here. So do you see how this – or do you think there's – let me back up. Do this 2 ways. How do you think this is going to change baseball in a mentality part of it or a mental strategy of this, and how do we fix this?
This is terrible. I absolutely hate this because now you're ruining the flow of the game. I'm not a fan of this. I actually have a video here I'm going to share with you guys to show a little bit of what happened there because it's just very weird. So here I'll show you guys from the beginning.
And Shay, we will get to your comments over here. Just give us 1 minute.
So you see him just dogging him out.
It's still not shared.
It's very weird.
There you go.
There we go. All right, we'll replay it here. So you'll see Scherzer is leaving after that, just dogging him out.
Love the stare down, by the way.
Well, dogging him out. This is bad. No words. Come on, dude. So what I'll say here is this. I love rowdiness. I love chippiness, particularly from players who are really in the thick of things. But when it comes to Girardi here, for example, Max Scherzer, after already getting checked twice, because that's the new rule that they put in, you expect 2 inspections per game as a pitcher of this bull crap. And he now requests a 3rd, like Michael mentioned. So yeah, what he mentioned after the game was he's watched Scherzer pitch so many times and has never seen him grab his hat the way that he had so many times and thought that was suspicious. What Scherzer said after the game was, because of all this going on right now, that the only place that I was able to get any sweat it was a pretty cold night, was my hair. So he's like, I had to continue touching my hair. And he said, I'm worried for a game where there's no sweat at all when it's freezing cold. And what do we do? Yeah, what do we do then? Are we just hocking loogies in our hand at this point? Yes, that's pretty much, I guess, what we'll have to do. But I think for him there, you deserve to get stared down. Girardi, you were being petty. You were trying your best to try and nitpick and go get something going. I hate it. It slows the game down. We already don't need that enough because MLB is already pretty slow for people that aren't appreciating the beauty of it like we do, of course. But to make it more appealing to a younger audience, now you're going to have this. Now you're going to have this stuff. And you're going to tell me this is appealing to a younger audience where you have to go send out the umpire and the guys are ripping off their belts and taking off their hats. This just looks like a joke. Come on. And Girardi, who's a grown man, and Scherzer, who's a grown man, but Girardi, you are an old grown man who has been in this league for a very long time. And he's always been a little bit of a shiesty asshole, like, excuse my bluntness, but no one's ever loved Girardi. He's always had that like personality that it's hard to like Girardi, although he fit that Yankees personality pretty well, that hard-nosed kind of guy. So I'm not saying he's a bad coach by any means, but he has always had that, we'll call it an edge for his attitude. And then you're going to go send out for a third inspection. You don't expect him to look at the thing like that. He is not barking at you. He's not pointing at you. He's just staring at you. And Girardi's going to come out and rip off his shirt like he's Donkey Kong. Are you serious right now, dude? Joe Girardi, you're a manager. You're already trying to manipulate this rule. That's already something we're not a fan of. I'm not a fan of Girardi now, even more so. I didn't think this was cool. It didn't get me hyped up seeing him go, come on, come bring it. Like, dude, you're the manager. You incited this. He didn't say a word. He just stared at you. You should expect him to stare you down, if not way more. And you sit there in silence because the umpire didn't find a damn thing. So you sit there in silence and just, well, at least I tried. But to come out and try and be a big guy like that, I think it made him look even worse. This rule's a joke. Girardi, you look like a joke. Scherzer, keep doing your thing. Sergio Romo, all these guys, keep making a joke out of this because it's an absolute joke. And I think it eventually will kind of play itself out. So
I think Girardi was actually trying to use it as an edge for him to try to get into his mind. I really do. Deep down, Joe's probably actually for the substance because he is old school, really. Sure. That's when they were using it. But I think he was just using it for that moment to try to get in his head.
No, but, and that's fine. But to not expect that any reaction from Scherzer, come on.
Right. I mean, he stared you down. You were in the wrong. You didn't catch him anything. Take it like a man and keep on going.
Absolutely.
Now, if you don't mind, I say we go up here and check out Shay's comments here. He was talking about the umps earlier. We'll bring it up here. Don't understand umps not talking to the media. I think referees should address public when they make a mistake or they cause an issue during a game. In any sport, he goes on to say. I'm going to actually kind of disagree a little bit with this for the fact that I just think it gets into opinions and different things here. I just feel like it's going to actually probably cause more of a ruckus than anything. Let's be honest, the ump knows when they're wrong. If they go out and say that they're wrong, I don't think it helps anything other than say, oh, we knew we were right, and then cause even more. But I do understand what you're trying to, or what you're getting at too. And I think
I think they're very prideful, these guys. So you make the call.
They are.
Unless it's clear as day. If it's one of those 50-50 calls where you probably should overturn it, you're not going to overturn it. You just called it.
Des Bryant caught that touchdown. It was a touchdown. We understand the refs could have said something, but it wouldn't have made any difference. So, it was from a Cowboy fan to another Cowboy. It wouldn't have changed a thing. So I don't know why you would say something. Now, the one I like, and I've seen it the other day in baseball was, and I cannot think of the man in the team, but it's been probably about 5 years ago. It was a no-hitter, ninth inning. The ump missed the call at first base, and the look in the pitcher's face was just so horrified. Right. But then the next day, the story went on, and I had never seen this. I seen this on social media this year, and that's what I thought. Wow, that was kind of high of him. The first base umpire was then behind home plate for that next game, and he stood tall as a man. Went out there to do the card switch at home plate, and he was bawling because he knew he had messed up. He knew he caused that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
No-hitter.
But the thing is that's where the replay comes in nowadays even more intensely because of moments like that, because they're so imperfect. So I think now we're also removing the human element a little bit more since we're relying on technology. For example, let's compare this to 20 years ago. The amount of technology and replay that we use now is something we could have never imagined. It was just, it happened. And now it's not like that. It's let's go spend 5 minutes. Let's go run it up to the top. You got people watching screens in a whole nother state, right there watching it for you, letting you know if you should challenge or not. So it's a completely different game. So I think with us continuing to remove the human element, if anything, they're really just stand-ins. We'll call them stand-ins, these umpires and referees. We're all watching this with 17 views, camera views. We're watching this in slow motion, and it's no longer just us at home with the benefit of that. It's them in person with the benefit of that, and they're using it, and not just a little bit, but all the time. So I think now they're way less important than they used to be, umpires and referees, because we can really just question them much more and correct them much more. So now I feel like they have less of a need to go stand out in the spotlight and go announce when they're wrong a lot of the time, because we're going to catch that. But with that being said, I do like the transparency. I like the comment here, because with that, I mean, seeing Joe West, a basketball referee who every single person hates, see him go up there and get castrated by the media and having people, just completely tear him apart. Would it make for some entertainment having the Joe West get booed the next game because of the words he said? I think that would be a phenomenal, way of going about things. I think Joe West is the baseball. I meant baseball, not basketball, but just him getting booed on the field. I think that would be fun for us, but also a little bit. I don't know. They're not personalities. No, you'll never remember a referee or umpire unless it's like, oh yeah, he used to do them all the time. But there's never anything besides like infamous missed calls that you'll remember them for, especially now with the technology. They're just stand-ins. So, yeah.
The most memorable moment of any referee, can you tell me what it is? Or ump, obviously.
The Mets, that Mets game. No. Let's see. I'll probably say that one you just said, that perfect game getting ruined. I remember that. I actually saw the umpire the next day. I saw all that. So I think that was probably the most memorable for me.
For me, the most memorable moment with a referee was when Charles Barkley and that referee in the All-Star game kissed on the lips. That disturbed me a little bit, but I will always remember that too, because I thought, what in the world? And like nothing was really like brought up about it, no information or any kind of content on it. It's just like, okay, it just kind of happened, and it was all accidental, but it just never happened. All right, so let's carry on.
Real quick, before we do, I just want to remind everybody, because I've been gambling quite a lot on baseball. I'm watching the games as they happen right now to make sure my picks are looking pretty solid. And we already mentioned we have that Discord that we give winning picks, especially a lot of baseball during season right now. But the main place that we all do gamble, of course, is MyBookie.ag. Such a beautiful site. And if you sign up with code USN100, you get double your first deposit. So it's an amazing deal there. $50 all the way to $1,000. You're able to we're matching that for you with USN100. Go to MyBookie.ag. Just a phenomenal site. You're able to go bet sportsbook, live betting, casino, racing, all these contests that they do, bonus programs, all types of things. It's really fun. So go check it out at mybookie.ag. If you're just trying things out, throw maybe $50 in there. We'll match you for 50 there. And go check out mybookie.ag and sign up for the Patreon so that we can give you some help with your gambling. Of course, you'll get entered into our Discord. So mybookie.ag, patreon.com/unwrapsports. Come join the dark side, my friends.
And one thing I'll just add to that is Kentucky, I don't think we have gambling where we can do that, but that is actually at .ag, not .com, so you can do that in every state. And also, myself, I'm not much of a gambler, but I'm learning the lingo where I actually sound like I know what I'm talking about. The site, mybookie.ag, you can actually join onto it, create your profile, and not have to put in a credit card right away. They're not up in your face, and I do appreciate that because I've got on there. I've looked at it some, been very tempted, just seeing how things out, and it's a very smooth page, and it's not upfront. Hey, you have to give all your information, so I do like that.
Yep.
So moving on into our transition here to trade deadline is coming up in a few weeks, I guess, here. I don't know exactly how many, haven't checked it out. But as we're getting in, we're past we're probably at 70 games. I haven't done the math yet. So we're almost up there to where we're getting close to mid-season.
So I'll say, I'm doing the math as we speak. It's just about 75, 76.
Okay, so we're almost halfway. We're almost there. So
we're voting for
said,
all-star selections right now. So.
Yes. There's 2 Reds that may get it, both in outfield. Jesse Winker.
Both deserve it.
They do.
Winker and Castellanos both are having monster seasons.
Yes. Now, if we can just keep them after the trade deadline, that's another story. But anyways, So with that being said, I want to talk to you, Perry. Who are your buyers and sellers? And obviously, we know certain teams, the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Rockies, the Diamondbacks, we know those are all going to be sellers, and we know our first place team. So I want to go through the middle of the pack here. So We'll start off with the AL East, and we've got 3 teams that I'm going to ask you on here. First, I want to ask Baltimore, and of course we know that they're kind of weak in that, but I want to go a little bit further if you can, and tell me who you think might be their guy that they also trade.
You see, with Baltimore, it's tough because they have a lot of pieces that they can trade here. I'm not a big fan of their team as a whole, if I'm being honest with you. And they're in a tough division. I think at the end of the day, to compete with the Red Sox, the Yankees, and the Rays year in and year out, and now you can even make an argument for the Blue Jays, who continue to make more and more progress each year. I think at this point they have to blow it out. You have to try your best to liquefy a lot of these assets to rather go in for any kind of big names that you can build around, or just completely tank and sell any player that you can that has any value. And at that point, you're able to at least get even more assets to go add into there, of course. But you asked me who I think they trade. I think it's just going to be a bunch of players. I mean, Ryan Mountcastle comes to mind, a guy that it's a pretty good bat for them there. Mancini, another guy that a really good pitcher for them as well.
Great story too.
Yeah, great story. So I feel like with them, those are a few names that I still would trade for if I was a contender, try and bring them in. But yeah, I mean, they got guys like Matt Harvey starting, and he's just absolutely terrible. And you guarantee he's given up 5 runs, 6 runs, an outing. It's just every time you put someone out there, you feel unconfident, and you know that it's going to be a high-scoring game for the Orioles. So, yeah, I would say the names that I mentioned are probably the ones that, probably have the most value, maybe like a Sevillano or something like that. But, Chris Davis is ass, and all the rest of these guys that used to be good are rather no longer on this team or aren't very good anymore. You know what I mean? So I think that would be for the Orioles. Blow it up and just start from scratch, I guess, even though they kind of already have, or find a way to pair a guy with value with any kind of assets and go get a big name that you can build around.
Now, the one that's true to my heart in the AL East is the Blue Jays. Right now they're 38-35. They're 5.5 back from first in the East. And I was hoping it would show what they are in the wild card, but I know they're close to a wild card spot. So I feel like they started kind of slow, or in the middle kind of got real slow here. Do you think that they're buyers or sellers? Are they trying to get over the hump? You think buyers? I do too, but being 4th place in that division, and of course we don't know what the Red Sox are going to do. Will they stay hot like they are? Of course, they're 44-31 right now, half a game out of first behind the Rays. So you do think they're buyers?
I do. I don't think they're out of it. I mean, they're 38-35, 5.5 games back of the Rays for first place. I think 5 games back from the Red Sox for second. So I definitely think right now it's not just, are you building for this year? Should you go get someone that's on an expiring deal? It's going to be definitely a bigger chance for them. But if you can get someone that has another year left on their deal after this, you're just adding a piece that starts to gel with that team and go into next season with this young core, because the Suns, Guerrero and Biggio and Bichette, I think they're all very exciting. I like their pitching with Ryu, who obviously has a special place in my heart from the Dodgers, and obviously kind of drops off pretty fast after that. But even Ross Stripling, who's there as well, and Manoah and stuff. So I think they have a pretty solid roster there. And like we mentioned, they're so young and so impressive with that young talent that I feel like if you match the right amount of veteran presence there, then it's the perfect mix. Maybe not for this season, but I think next season's a year that I'm going to put $20 on the Blue Jays to win the World Series, not because I think it's going to happen, but because I think it could happen. I think the value is going to be phenomenal, and I think it's just one of those teams where it's like the Hawks this year. They were nothing. They made some improvements. They became something. Then they made even more improvements and brought in veterans and brought in all this stuff. And then you see what's happening now. I think if they do that with a mixture of the trade deadline and the offseason, I think next season's a year that you expect the Blue Jays to rather win that division or come in second.
Here's where I am with them. I almost feel like they're neither this year. If anything, I would say buyers. I feel like they just need to ride this season out and make a move in the offseason.
Fair.
Free agency.
That's fair.
Because like we said, the Suns, I think you referred to them. I like that because
as Father's Day, Hawks or Suns, both of them. I think they're both in the exact same spot.
Oh, I thought you referred you said the Suns when you're talking about the Blue Jays. I thought you did that on purpose, saying the Suns.
No, Suns and Hawks both, I think, would be identical to their story.
Right, but I thought you meant SON Suns because.
Oh no, that's what I did mean. No, I said that. I did say SONs. Yeah, the Suns.
Well, that's what I thought. But when I first heard Suns, I was thinking of Phoenix. I was
like, the Suns like Biggio and Guerrero and Bichette.
I like that, but I feel like these guys are still young. Vlad possibly could win a MVP this year.
Wow.
Depends on if they give it to Ohtani. Both of them deserving. Love this race.
Ohtani deserves it because he's doing something that's never been done before, and it's unbelievable. But Vlad is better than
30 pounds he lost.
Vlad is better than his dad, and it's early to say that.
Yes, he wears batting gloves. His dad didn't. That's what it is. But now here's the next one, and it's hard to put that out there, but I want to know what you think of the Yankees. They're 40-34. They are 7-3 of their last 10 games, but they have been in a big slump. I know Connie would probably jump all over me for even saying this, especially since we've got the Jays underneath them, who is a game and a half behind the Yankees. What do you think they are doing? Because I feel like the Blue Jays have a better chance than the Yankees.
I think the Yankees stay put. If you ask me, I think they got a pretty good squad, and I think they should be happy with where they're at. Their pitching has been better than expected because after Garrett Cole, I'm not a huge fan of the majority of their starting pitchers, but I would say that it's been better than like I said, expected. And I know Connie's all behind the Gary Sanchez revival. So if he can start hitting well, I think at this point too, you're looking for just that right amount of chemistry to come together at the right time, because this team has been together for a little bit too. The majority of these players, it's not a completely new team. So and with that being said, I can see them selling, maybe not blowing it up or anything, but maybe selling a piece or two and
just changing it up,
still competing and bringing in rather a friendlier contract or a new bit of energy there, if that's rather in their starting pitching or in their lineup somewhere. But I like their lineup. They got a lot of power, and I think that they're a solid team. And like we mentioned, they're in a really tough division. So you always have to stay on the top of your game when you're in that division. There's not a year that, like the NL West, some years you're going to have to stay on your shit. And there's other years that the Rockies aren't doing anything and the Diamondbacks aren't doing anything. And it's just one of those Dodgers and Giants kind of bouts there. Now the Padres are in the mix. But, all of this became new. It was a pretty easy slide most years, but I would say the Yankees year in and year out have to, deal with a lot more.
Okay, here's a question for you. Are you ready for this? And that's not the question. The Yankees are trading a player. Who would you trade to fill in whatever voids that you want? Would you rather trade Judge or would you rather trade Stanton?
Stanton.
That was fast. Why?
I like Judge a little more. I think first off, with the difference in age, I'm going to start there. I feel more comfortable building around Judge with him being more youthful and I think more versatile as a player. I think Stanton's one of the greatest power hitters in the history of baseball. So I think he's able to hit the ball in a way that is disrespectful. But with that being said, if you got to give me Stanton, who I can't see playing more than 5 years, and Judge, who I can guarantee you will play another decade, just age alone with how close I think they are as players, although different players, it's not even a question for me. I got to keep the Judge. I got to stand up for him as well.
Well, I will say I would go Stanton as far as keeping because I like Stanton. I like him. But you do make great points where you just changed my mind because Judge, one, he's playing in the outfield, so you actually can play him NL or AL.
He's a pretty good defender too. He's an underrated defender. He's got a lot of size too, so he can cover ground.
Oh yeah,
Amazon-like strides, and when he lays out, it's like a 45. He's like got like a 9-foot wingspan. So,
Okay, with that one being said, let's move on over to the Central, where it would take Aaron Judge maybe 20 steps to get to. So, let's go with here's the division real quick. We got the White Sox, Indians, Royals, Tigers, and Twins. Everyone knows the Twins are probably going to be blowing this up since they're only 12.5 out of first, which I say only. That is bad. Tigers are tied with them with 12.5 out. You got the Royals 10.5, then you got the Indians 2.5 back. So it's really a White Sox Indians in this division here. But I want to start off by asking Kansas City. What do we think of them? They're 10.5. They're really far back, but they're a good youthful team. What are you thinking here?
Oh, man. I think the Royals are one of the most frustrating teams in all of MLB. From someone that gambles a lot, I can't stand gambling on the Royals because it feels like the day that you expect them to lose, they win, and the day you expect them to win, they lose. And they do blow a lot of games. And at the same time, they're decent at home. It's funny. I mean, I like Danny Duffy a lot. I think he's someone that gets no love. So I think he's an ace. I truly do. So I think the Royals, although frustrating, have a lot of talent. Young talent. Thank you, Corey. Yeah, I try my best. But, I think that they have a lot of room to improve. I liked Andrew Tendi coming in. I think beyond the fact that he makes their team much better looking, there's a lot of interesting pieces there. Carlos Santana, Salvador Perez, who's a power hitting catcher, which is rare to get. Hunter Dozier. I like what they've done, but they aren't going to win anything. They are in need of a star. They're in need of someone that they can build around. And I think that they desperately need that more in their lineup than they do in their pitching staff. So I see them going out for a big bat, someone that could hit in the 3 to 5 range for them. And they're going to need it badly. And I think they have enough young guys to throw in a pretty good trade for some of these guys that might be on the market, between guys on the squad and their minor league system, which is not bad. I think the Royals are going to be buyers.
Okay. Yeah. I actually think that they may, where they do have a lot of youth, they could make a move like you're saying, and I think it'd be great for them. But it's also putting a lot of their youth gone. That's going to, I think, hurt their farm system quite a bit. And I don't know if they add that superstar, if they actually have something there. So I hear you say buyer, and I'm just going to go say, okay, sure. So let's move on over to the West, where we've got the Astros, Athletics, Mariners, Angels, and Rangers. Rangers are already 20 out from first, and we're not even to the All-Star break. So they are definitely buyers, correct?
The Rangers?
Yes, they're buyers, right?
I would say so. I mean, and before I hit on the Royals, I know we kind of sped through the last division, but the White Sox are one of those teams that made so many moves this offseason that were just so right. So I'm a big White Sox guy in that division. I really like what they're doing. But yeah, I would say.
What about La Russa? What do you think of him?
He's a piece of shit. Yeah,
I know how you feel about him. I like him, but
he's a dinosaur. I think he needs to go out and go have fun for a day. That's what he needs. You know what he needs? Excuse me for the PG audience, but he needs to have some fun in the bedroom. And I think it's whatever is needed. 80. Whatever is needed to re-spark that life, he needs it. Because the guy is so get off my lawn, it's killing me now. It's just it's absolutely ridiculous. And the MLB is already a league of dinosaurs as is. So the more youth we can get injected into the league and more excitement, the better. And La Russa's like
pretty much Clint Eastwood in every movie he's made outside of Cowboys.
That's true.
It's just him right here.
But yeah,
I love the pitcher.
The Rangers are another frustrating team, another team that can't really get it too straight. I mean, they score a ton when they are on. They score nothing when they're off. I can't honestly give you an honest opinion on the Rangers if I see them buying or selling. If anything, maybe selling. Yeah, I was going to say the Rangers are just at a point where I would call purgatory and are in a tough division. That division might be the most exciting in the AL for me right now because you got the Angels who are pretty good, and they're what, fourth in their division right now? So
fourth in their division.
Yeah,
10.5 out of first.
Very intriguing. I think the Mariners have been better than expected. The A's are awesome. The Astros are the hottest team in baseball right now. As much as we hate them, they are unbelievably hot right now. I'm making
11 in a row.
I'm making a ton of money off the Astros right now, including today. So, they've made up a little bit of ground for me, but I definitely feel like this division's not an easy one to compete in. And if you're the Rangers, you're screwed right now. So.
Oh yeah. Let's back up though. What do you think of the Angels? Because they're 10.5. Trout has been out. Ohtani, what we've talked about. Render's been out for a little while. Now he's back.
I was going to say, I think you hold on because you're playing pretty well without Rendon and without Trout. So you imagine both these two bats and gloves, because, I mean, Trout in particular is really good out there. So I think the Angels are in a good spot, barring them not being able to re-sign certain players. I think their team is solid. Their lineup is scary, too. Ohtani not just brought 25 home runs in the first half of the season, but he's also an ace when they needed one more than anything. So it's not like, oh, we got this just power hitter. Now you got an ace and a power hitter at the same time.
You have
probably
a two-player in one.
100%. You scored. I think this is. I remember on ESPN. I think it was a game with Ohtani on the mound and the Giants, and the Giants actually opted to use the DH, and the Angels did it because Ohtani was pitching. And I got such a kick out of that. I was like, that's just so fun,
And of course, it's
Ohtani for president. You'd have terrible communication, but like Ohtani for president, man.
I mean, I've enjoyed watching him, and the velocity of his balls that are leaving the park too are phenomenal too.
We're talking about velocity of balls. I was not expecting this when I filled in for Connor.
I knew when I said it came out my mouth that something was going to be said, but that's where we are in today's.
I should have expected it.
So the Angels, okay, Oakland. I mean, obviously,
hang on. The A's have a good squad. I love it. Besides the Astros being blazing hot, the A's have a chance this year.
Yeah. Do we think? I mean, how do you think they improve their team? Have you thought about that any? And some of this, I mean, there's a lot of teams that could be.
I think it's getting older. I think they have a pretty decently young squad, so I think it's just them gelling together more. I really like their team. If anything, maybe they're buyers for another, utility player or something like that. But I don't think they're in need to go get a bunch of players off their squad to go bring in one big bat. I think they're a really good overall team. They're not a team that's just like, wow, that guy is carrying them this year. It's just they're a very good squad overall, well coached. So.
Oh no, I've got to check something out while you keep talking here. I just
no, you're good.
Got tagged in our basketball chat. Somebody said Bubble Booker and attached me to it, so I got to see what's going on here.
Oh yeah, no, fill me in too because I know we got some playoffs going on right now. But yeah, it's such a fun time of year too. When you got the playoffs, you got baseball, you got the Stanley Cup going on, or at least the playoffs still going right now. You have football news swirling. You have the NBA Combine that just got dropped,
and the Olympics.
What a time! Absolutely phenomenal.
Right now, Booker only has 15 points, so I don't know if he's kind of just coming at me at that or what. But it's 4 minutes.
I see Corey commented nothing. He just needs to pass. I think Corey's got his assists. But
thank you, Corey.
Hey, I can't imagine playing in a mask like that after you playing without one for so long and sweating. You're playing so hard in the playoffs too. You're probably sweating balls. So I think at that point with the mask, it's probably so stanky in there afterwards. Yeah. All foggy, precipitation. We'll call him precipitation Bush this game.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, does that one roll off the tongue?
I like ball sweating Booker better, but
ball velocity Buck.
There we go.
There we are.
So anyway, we got the Oakland. What about the Mariners? What do we think of them? Like, I mean, obviously they're having a good year. Do we think they're going to actually buy something here? Like, I don't understand. They're 8-2, their last 10, 8.5 out of first. But still sitting at 39-37, so they're in the race at least for that wild card spot still.
I'm absolutely shocked. I think with Kyle Lewis not playing too much this year, he's been really injured. I think that they should stay put too. I think they've had some injuries and been playing better than expected. So with them getting healthy, I'm not saying they're here to win this division. Like we mentioned, this division is not easy, and they're not going to win this division this year. But I think why go waste some of these assets. Just ride it out right now. I don't think any move that the Mariners make is going to propel them to a wild card spot. And if it does, I don't see them making any noise in the playoffs. So I think this year you ride the wave, you continue to give playing time to some of these younger guys that are outperforming expectations, and ride it into next year. Really, I think the Mariners are a perfect team to stay put, because a move would be pointless. You rather ruin the chemistry of the guys you have there by getting rid of someone, or bring in someone unnecessarily when it's not like you were in reach of winning right now.
Honestly, I could see the Mariners being a seller, and I know that kind of is crazy, but because they're almost going to be this lukewarm team that is at the middle of the pack, who is already playing better than what they probably expected. Sure. So if you could get a couple of good young prospects that are a year out from making the debut, go ahead and sell these guys a little bit higher than what they probably really are on your team to get that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's me being a gambling man. I don't think I would gamble on trying to be a buyer in this situation and making a push, because you've got a tough AL instinct all together, not to mention even the West here.
No, I agree with you completely. Yeah, I think so does Matt Scurry here in the comments too.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you.
Absolutely. I think the Mariners, if they do anything, it's going to probably be sell. But I just see them staying put, because a move would be a little bit pointless. And they just got to get healthy. They got to get healthy. That's it.
So now let's move over to, I think, the most interesting division in baseball this year is the NL East. We have, of course, the Mets, Nationals, Phillies, Braves, and Marlins. Marlins bring out the bottom. They're 9.5 is what I said, 9.5 out of first. Then you move on up to the Braves, who has really kind of been a disappointment this year, even though they're just 5.5 out of first. Phillies, who's kind of surprised me, is 5 out. And then the Nationals is 3.5. And, of course, Mets are in first place with just a 38-31 record.
I love that you said the most interesting division. And it's a funny way of saying the worst division in baseball, because it's hilarious, because the Mets would be 4th in the NL West. So it's just like our Cowboys division in the NFC East, where you have to win so many games. But the second you put them up against the Seahawks, the Cardinals, the 49ers, and the Rams, we were at Weenie Hut Jr. going over to the club right afterwards. Like, at this point, it's night and day. So interesting was a very nice word to use there, Michael.
Thank you. Well, see, actually, me and Connie kind of talked a little bit about that, because last week my Reds was a higher record than the Mets. And I'm like, is that saying that the Central is a better division? Or is this division just so tight or so tough?
It is a better division.
So, I mean, that's what I kind of went with. But, the Mets are still the Mets. And I think they find ways to lose somehow. 4 of 6 of their last 10 games, like always. And they're the best team, though, in this division. The Braves, I feel like, have just had some crazy stuff happen. The player who I can't even think of his name, or probably couldn't even announce it, that's been arrested because of what's going on with the family matters there. Acuna had, I think, missed a few games, not really played up to his MVP year that we thought that we would have, who has then turned it on where he's actually killing it. So I feel like the Braves just start off super slow, or I don't know if it's almost sometimes, you have the hangover from the playoffs of last year, thinking we are good, and then getting smacked in the face. So maybe now they're waking up where we have the 162 games. By the end of this, they'll be number 1 and blow it out. But I had the Braves actually going to the World Series against the White Sox.
Wow.
So
I like the White Sox pick a lot.
Thank you. I mean, I look smart with the White Sox, but right now I look dumb with the Braves.
Sure.
So what are you thinking here? Do we have Braves as buyers, sellers?
Put it this way. Before I hit the Braves, thank God the Mets are number 1. With all the changes that they made, with everything they did, if they still weren't number 1, then they're so doomed. So thank God they're number 1. And they got lucky that they're in a bad division with a new owner and a new squad. So, but with the Braves, it's not like they've turned it on too much. I mean, 5-5 in their last 10. They're 4 games below 500. So, they've been disappointing. And then you have the Nationals over there, and they're 500 right now, but they're 9 out of their last 10. I've been winning a lot of money off them as well. So, I definitely think that the Braves have some room to improve, but I think they're sellers. I think they're sellers here. I think that they sell a star. I think that they start to bring in more talent. And the thing is, I will tell you this, the Braves have done a really good job of doing that in the past. They've done a really good job of bringing in multiple prospects that have been impactful on their team. So there's a lot of trades that they make, and you're like, you're getting rid of someone that's pretty solid. But I do feel like the Braves can be sellers here. And that doesn't mean blow it up. That's not what I'm saying. But I mean sell someone that, you can get a lot of value for and fill out this team, because I think it's the lack of depth for this team, and their farm system hasn't been absolutely great. So I think bringing in prospects from other farm systems that are right there would be a smart move for them.
Ozuna, I think, is who it was. So who would you – oh, actually, he already asked me this question. Let me pull it up here. Perry, who would you sell if you were the Braves? If you don't mind, I would start off actually.
Yeah, please.
Who is one of my favorite players. I would actually probably go with Freddie Freeman, just
sure.
right off of his.
I just don't know how much value he has. Although he's playing very well, he is a lot on the older side.
Well, see, that's why I would try to sell him, because he is older, but he just won the MVP, so he's still got some years left in him, and he's doing good still now. But I definitely think you keep Acuna.
Yeah, you keep Acuna for sure. I think you're looking at getting rid of like an Ozzie Albies or even someone on their pitching squad here. I think you are looking to bring in more guys like Dansby Swanson. I think you're looking for more guys, because when he was brought in, it was a project, and he's a guy that's really filled onto their team, even in Austin Riley. So I feel like a lot of these players are perfect Braves players. I agree with you. I'm not looking for them to trade Acuna or really any of their stars. But I do think if they can unload Freddie Freeman, like you said, I won't call the twilight of his career, but he's going to be heading into the end of his career sooner rather than later. But I do think Ozzie Albies is the guy for me. I think he's a guy that's young enough to – oh, there you go. Yeah, thank you, Matt. Yeah, I think Ozzie Albies is probably my guy, and I think second base is a position that you can fill rather easily in the MLB. I think you see a lot of guys that are able to also play second as a secondary position and easily move to there. It's a lot less cerebral than like a shortstop or a third base, for example.
Well, I was going to ask, do you think the Charlie Morton trade or sign, I can't remember, it wasn't a trade, I think it's a free agent move there, was a good move or not? But he's 7-3. He started out a little weak, but now he's fantasy points wise. The past 2 games, he's gotten over 32 points against St. Louis and then 34 points against the Mets.
I mean, the thing is, what I will say is now it looks like a good move because of the injuries that they've sustained. I think Max Fried, unfortunately, having some injury issues, and some other guys. And let's go, Corey. We have another parlay that hits. I'm on fire today as well. Corey and I most definitely hit the over on the Pirates and Cardinals game that we posted on the Bets USN page. So please go check us out on there. Synced with our Patreon, which is also part of the Discord that we value there. It's going to have all the gambling stuff for you. As Corey said, we're giving out cash money for you.
See, this is what kills me. Y'all just won $490.
Cash money, baby. Right. And the thing is this, let me put this clear. You don't have to follow Corey on his full parlay, for example. But one thing that him and I will say, him in particular, he'll say, here's all of my thoughts, pretty much in his parlay. These are all my picks. Pick out what you like. Pick out what you agree with in there. Use it as confirmation bias. And if they all hit that day, it doesn't matter what you pulled out of his thing. You hit too. So if you're worried to go put down a bunch of stuff, but it's not like he won $400 to go and, he didn't put down $400 like he mentioned there. He put down $10 there. So he's being smart. The way that we're betting, it's very, very fun. It's a way that, it's a responsible way. You're not putting the rent down, but at the same time, you're giving yourself an opportunity, and you have a lot of amazing information from us too. We were on fire today. I think Corey just hit that big one. We hit on the bets page today with that over. I have right now a parlay that's pending on the Dodgers winning here. I believe they come back down 1-0. But other than that, I hit a different parlay as well. I hit the over on the Indians 3.5 today, team total. So let's go, guys. Let's absolutely go. So yeah, shout out Corey. Shout out the rest of the team.
Okay,
absolutely.
So I'm going to see if I can read this right. So he went 8 and over 15.5 points. So I'm assuming he hit that. Under 225, and that would be the total, right? Both teams playing, right?
Right.
Okay. Bridges over 11.5, Crowder over 4.5 in rebounds, Paul George 3+ on threes, and Morris over 4.5 on rebounds. Okay.
Yep. And we were on fire today.
I'm on fire. I read that correctly.
Fire. You did. And I was on the 8 in points too, so I'm pumped about that. Let's go. What a great day for the squad. Very happy, guys. Great job.
So If you can, Corey, you included, and Perry, can you tell me like what your record is on your bets?
Yeah, I mean, like lifetime, no, but I can definitely tell you that we make more money than lose as a group.
Well, that's good. That is good.
I could definitely tell you that. I will tell you that on the Bets Unwrapped page, we've started posting every day is when we really started doing our record. And I will tell you exactly right now, we've been doing it for 41 picks now, including today. And we are 27 wins, 13 losses, and 1 push, which means it didn't hit or didn't lose. So 26 wins, we'll get rid of this push. So 27 wins out of 40, I think, is a very reputable record there, and we're pretty proud of it. So
listen, this is what I want you guys to do starting July 1st, if you can, and if you will, because it may be a lot. I want to know if you can keep a record. Oh, man, because y'all do a lot of parlays, and I understand that because that's how you actually get more money. Like, I was going to say, if you could do, like, individual, like, okay, 1-0 today or something to that effect for the whole month, then also I want to know how much money you won compared to how much you lost.
You have Corey's player prop record right there. He just dropped it in the comments. So his are he's still winning. You know, you got about 30 wins more than losses there, but he puts out a ton. So he's not – just sitting there nitpicking the best one of the day. He puts out 3 to 5 to 10 for you a day. So the guy's going crazy. He's going hard.
And I'll say this too, guys, for the ones that are listening even through our podcast, please go check out the podcast, follow us, Backstop Banter, do or subscribe and rate on that as well as a little plug. But also, what I have learned on this is what Corey does tell you on his bets that he thinks would hit, he has money on. Like there's a couple of times me as beginner or rookie as I am, I'll make comments like, ooh, I can see how this would go. Of course, like, hey, now, I mean, if you're not going to put money on it, watch what you're saying because you got people that could listen to it. Like, you know, that totally makes sense. So he's not just kind of filling you full of bull crap. He's actually betting it too. So that's respect for that as well. Of course,
we try to put down information for you too, so it's not just like, oh, I feel like this is going to happen today, which we do sometimes, because I mean, gambling half the time it's a gut feeling and you just reading things yourself. But I mean, if there is numbers on the situation, we're putting them in there. We're helping you out. If we're losing, we're like you mentioned, we're losing together. You know, but I would definitely say we're more profitable than the money we lose, confidently.
And still, like, I didn't even realize this, but if you're 50-50, you're doing pretty good.
Oh, right? Absolutely. If you're hitting 55%, you're technically a professional capper if you do that at a consistent basis. So we're hitting above 60% as a team.
So, wow, all right, awesome. I may have to just say, here, Perry, take this $10 and make me $490.
Someone asked me if they gave me $5,000 if I'd be able to give them a return, and I was like, I'm just not going to take your $5,000. That just sounds like a hell of a lot of work for me and a lot of a risk for you. But I'd get your money back. Like, I'm not going to blow $5,000, but at the same time, like, that's going to take me a hell of a lot. I'm not going to go bet $100 bets for you. I'd still play my game, you know, so it'd take me forever.
Man, that'd be tough because, I mean, you'd have to be like, okay, what happens if I lose your $5,000, you know? Like, are you going to come kill me? You know, do I lose an arm?
I wouldn't take that without like a contract. Like, hey, you're well aware that this may go down the tube, and I'll give you a full log of the bets every day.
What is the most money you've put down on a bet?
$200, $250. Yeah, Caleb will throw down $400 every bet like a fucking madman. So
he's a fratter though. He's from a frat club, you know.
He's cut from a different cloth. Yeah, for me, I try. First off, I have an addictive personality, as a lot of people know on the shows. I'm a recovered addict when it comes to a few things, and I'm very proud of that. But with that being said, I know myself very well. If I love something, I love it. I put my heart into it. And if I hate it, it's dead to me. There's no mental space for it. So I really, really dive fully in. So if I know I love something as much as gambling, I have to set my own personal, we'll call limits. I have to set my ceiling for myself. I have to know exactly how much. If I'm already down that week, I'm done. I take my loss. There's no chasing allowed. You chip away and then you set a limit. And for a single bet, if you're going to put down money, you should be putting money that you know you can lose.
Right.
Yeah, this is money that if you put it down, I almost want you to go into it expecting that you lost, you know, and just hoping that you win. I think that's a better way to look at it, because then it's not like it ruins your day. You didn't rely on that. Like, you're not like, wow, I'm down 50 and now you're sweating for the rest of the week because you shouldn't have done that. If you're like, hey, if I lost this 50, am I going to be putting myself out right now? No. So when you do lose that 50, if you do, it's like, that team's dead to me. That's all you can say at that point.
Gotcha. So with that being said, let's try to transition back to baseball now.
That was fun.
What is amazing to me is how oblivious I am to the betting world.
I think you're better than you think. I think you're in tune.
Well, but just the fact that so much betting does go on.
Every day.
I've been in the betting chat group for probably a year now, and I still have not made a single dollar bet. But at the same time, from what I've seen from the beginning all the way up, there's bets for everything. Everything.
When the world was shut down, if they would have let me gamble on the weather, I would have been gambling over under 74.5 degrees. Don't you get me wrong. Absolutely. I would have been betting on rain every day just because the value would have been so high.
During the election, you could bet what state was going to go somewhere.
I was going ballistic during the presidential debates because homeboy would come out in like a blue tie and I would win $20. I wouldn't care about these debates at all. I would just hope that his tie had stripes. Like, that was it.
That just blows my mind. And of course, baseball cards, like we talked about earlier. Sure. It's almost like the more we've been home, the more hobbies we're looking to bring back. Baseball cards.
Bring them all back. They're so fun.
And not just baseball cards, all cards. And I was listening to a show which Corey had mentioned to, Nonstop Baseball Cards or something to that effect. I listened to them today while I was taking a shower. I'm not a big podcaster, but I turned it on, started listening to it. Then I had to turn on my favorite baseball player, Sean Casey's show, and absolutely fell in love with that show yet always. But I was listening to it, and it was like the top 4 transaction and return on cards. Out of the top 25, the first 4 were baseball players, and Ohtani was number 1. I can't remember who the other 3 or 4 were, but it's just like, it's so crazy how big of a baseball based it is when it comes to cards, and how these margins have marked up so much. Like, it went from like 250% increase over this pandemic. And now betting, I think, has become more of a realm to be more existent. Of course, with Las Vegas having teams now, I think some of that plays in a part a little bit, but just with the daily bets that you can do as far as your like fantasy football, stuff like that, betting is a part of sports.
Betting is perfect. Betting
very
is awesome.
Part of sports now. Like, you can't have sports without some type of bet. And this is why Pete Rose needs to be in the Hall of Fame. But anyways,
absolutely.
Anyways, let's come back to the East Coast. We talked about Atlanta, who you think is a seller, at least a mini market seller. We'll say that one player that they can get some returns, that is a prospect that's ready to go next year. I can agree with you on that, but me having them in the World Series, I feel like this is a plunder. I want to say they're still somewhat of a buyer because this division is weak. They're only 5.5 back out of first in a division that has really pretty much crapped the bed. So I'm going to say hold firm, keep going strong on this, and I really hope my Braves come out. Now, do I think they're going to the World Series? Absolutely not. They suck this year. So next team in the East. Let's go with we'll just move up one. Let's go with Philadelphia Phillies.
Yep. I think they're buyers, I guess. Their team bores me. I think you need to go bring in someone with Bryce Harper that's got some personality.
What kills me with Bryce Harper is he was supposed to be up there with Mike Trout. He is now just maybe the best player on the Philadelphia, about the 76ers, Phillies. Like, we need Bryce Harper to be Bryce Harper. Like, what happened to the hair flip back, put your helmet on? Like, he's good, but he's not great anymore. And I feel like the Phillies are a buyer just because they spent so much money on Bryce, and they're still waiting for him to be that savior for them.
Right.
If they become a seller, they're saying basically we failed and we didn't trust our process. Which
they did fail. I mean, like, what's there to say? Like, they don't have a contender. They're in purgatory. That's what it's called. They have too much money loaded into certain players, and then they don't have enough star power. Real Muto and all these guys are underperforming. It's just how it is.
Poor Real Muto. He should have went somewhere else. I was hoping he would go to the Angels.
Yeah,
But
I like him and Harper a lot. That's the thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Let's move on up. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Finish it.
No, just that's it.
Yeah, like it's not entertaining at all. Let's move on up to the Nationals, who are a hot team right now. They have won 9 out of their last 10, 5-game winning streak, 3.5 back from the Mets, who
I like the Nats.
struggling.
I like the Nats.
So we definitely think they're buyers. Do you think they're big buyers and trying to make some type of big splash?
Yeah, I do. I think you bring in a guy that can be right next to Soto. I think you bring in a guy that can really elevate your team to the next level. You've won a World Series in the last 3 years. You have been there. You have tasted victory. This is not a time to turn around now. You have a good enough team, I think, again, with this division, they are the Cowboys right now. This is a team where you're good enough and you have a division where you are in striking distance every year right now until the division gets better as a whole. So right now is where you attack while the iron's hot. This is when you go out and you get one more guy, not a Soto type level player because that's going to cost you too much, but a guy that can complement Soto in that lineup. I think their pitching is great. Good. Sorry, let's do good. I think their pitching is good, and
above par.
Yeah, I do like the Nationals. Like you said, they're hot, and they're going into the All-Star break as one of the hottest teams besides the Nationals. And I think right now is when you take advantage of that and try and give the Mets a run for their money. You're right there.
Josh Bell is the person that they signed during the free agent during offseason, come over from the Pirates, who would always kill the Reds.
Right.
But he has not panned out as
That's
much. That's what I think they should. I would almost, we were talking about this, if the Braves were a seller, I think Freddie Freeman moving on up coast there, that would be fun. Nice.
That'd be a real good acquisition. Absolutely.
You really don't see
even a guy like the Ozzy Albies we were talking about right there. Like I think a Freeman would be a little bit more impactful for their lineup, but I think even an Ozzy Albies is a guy that you add to there, and I'm like, that makes him even more intriguing,
Yeah, but you just don't really see the same division kind of trading with each other, not too much.
It's true.
So I would like to see that actually. I mean, being a Reds fan, the Nationals organization kind of came from the Reds. If you knew much about them, a lot of our front office went there. A lot of our players would go on there, and then even Dusty Baker coached or managed there after he was with the Reds. So that would be my second team, if you would. So I would like for them to do good. Josh Bell, be the player that you were 2 years ago, last year. Come on, man, step it up. And even Starlin Castro. I mean, he's been okay. He's been good. But he's also actually, you know what? He played for the Pirates as well, I think, and the Cubs. So how about that? Anyways, let's move on over to we think Miami are sellers. We know that. Let's move over to my division. Can we just go there for a little bit?
Sure.
Let's go to the best division in baseball, the NL Central, who we got Pirates in last, already 14 games out of first.
The Pirates got to cancel the franchise.
I mean, I want to jump ship here a little bit. The Pirates, I would say this about Pittsburgh. I love Pittsburgh. They're so smart if you think about it. What team color is every team in Pittsburgh?
It's very uniform.
That is so nice. Uniform. Because one of my pet peeves was when I go to a game and you wear a different jersey than what's going on. I cannot stand it. Like, why do you do that? If I go watch the Reds.
So I was going to say, if someone comes in a Lakers jersey to a Dodger game, it frustrates you?
I can't stand it. I cannot stand it. It makes no sense. I went and watched the Reds play, and I want to say it was Detroit Tigers. I actually think it's who it was. And there was a guy there in an Oakland jersey. Like, that makes absolutely no sense.
I see.
Why are you even here? It's like, ooh, I'm going to a baseball game. Let's wear a baseball jersey. I have.
The best is, so you want everyone to be like Rob Lowe on the side of an NFL game wearing an actual NFL hat, like just rooting for the success of the league, but no particular team. Like, he's just there. He's just there for the ride, just for morale.
Honestly, that would probably make me more mad too. Wear the team that you're there to watch. There's this guy who he's as geeky as I am. His first name's Zach. I want to say it's Hampler. He's the home run guy that you see, foul ball. He's on YouTube like crazy. He's got so many million followers, but he'll go to these games for batting practice. He's got this little gadget that he's made where he's got a glove with a rubber band around it, puts a Sharpie in the middle of it. So he lowers it down during batting practice, grabs the ball and pulls it up with his rope. But he actually goes with two hats. Genius. Like if we'll say he's watching the Pirates and Reds, he'll have the Reds hat on while they're out in the field doing their batting practice so he can get balls. As soon as Pirates out there, takes that off, puts on Pirates hat so he can get balls. Genius. But when the game's going on, he wears an MLB hat. I'm just like, what is that doing?
That's phenomenal. You're just rooting for the success of the league, my friend.
Yeah,
you're the intermediary that day.
So that's one thing that I am happy about what Pittsburgh has done as a city.
It doesn't matter. You're Switzerland. You're neutral.
Yeah, you're black and yellow no matter what. Penguins, black and yellow. Steelers, black and yellow. So you can wear anything, Pittsburgh, and it looks like you're cheering for the right team. So kudos to you all.
I like it.
Sorry, went out on a tangent there. So my two teams.
The design is important.
It really is. My two teams I want to talk about, which we know the Brewers, who are in first right now, 42-33 right now, has lost 6 of their last 10 games. Cubs, same way, 4-6 of the last 10. Cubs are a half a game out of first. The Reds are only 4 out of first. We cannot keep it together. We're streaky. And then you got Cardinals, who are 6 out of first. I want to know, do you think the Cardinals are buyers or sellers? And then my next question is going to be my Reds. Because we got a lot of people that we could be sellers for, and it scares me.
Yeah, the Cardinals are kind of in purgatory too, because I don't think they have a ton of assets that jump off the page for me. And I think sell while you have value. I think a team that I think is performing better than they should. If anything, I think they should hold on and ride it out, because I think it's just kind of like the Mariners. It's a very similar team for me, where they should be impressed with the young talent. They should be happy with where they're at, not ecstatic, but I think blowing anything up right now, it puts you, I don't know, they're in purgatory. I think you just ride it out, see what you got, ride it in the next season, try and rewrite it.
Okay, so I think, how crazy would it be if they were sellers and they traded, who was it they traded for? Or they signed it? Or no, they traded for the Rockies. Arenado?
Arenado, yeah.
What if they traded him? Because really, what other player do you know on that team that you would be interested in?
But I think at this point, there's been a lot of teams today that we've said they need to go trade for someone star power to build around. And I'm not saying that he's the perfect player, but I will tell you that he sells jerseys and he puts people in seats. And, I think that's a guy that you don't abandon. Personally,
I agree. Now let's go to the greatest team in baseball and the oldest team in baseball.
Yeah, you lead this one. You lead this one.
The Queen City. Oh man, please don't make me. I have to get a non-bipartisan.
Sellers or buyers or sellers? I need to hear what you think first.
Okay, here's what I think. I think we need to be a small buyer. If we go big, we need a starting pitcher that is just flat out an ace. Matt Latos, like we got years ago.
You need a Trevor Bauer, don't you?
We need a Trevor. Trevor, come on back home, man.
Ooh.
Come on back. But my mini buyer is we need bullpen. We have given up so many runs late. And this is what I always talked about last year. Even I seen their Reds writer talk about yesterday. I want to say the 5 last games that we have lost, 3 of those we lost from the 8th inning or later, and blown saves or blown games. We got to have the bullpen, and I don't understand how hard it is to get a player that can throw 2 innings. Like in today's time, move a starter to the mid reliever that can pitch 2 or 3 innings.
Right.
Because now I'm even going to go kind of circle around from back when we were talking about our sticky hands is these starters may be lower on a pitch count where you move more starters into that relieving role. Maybe have starters pitch 4 innings and have another starter pitch 4 innings, then just have a closer. Who knows? But our relievers suck.
It's true.
And Tony has been hurt, but thank goodness he's back. He's probably our best pitcher all around. And I'm ready for us to go ahead and bring up Hunter Green, who's just moved up to AAA playing in Louisville Bats. Shout out Louisville Bats. I'm trying to get some media pass with you. Hopefully I can get out there and catch a game and do some articles that way. But he's been fanning his fastball over triple digits. Struck out 6 batters, I think, today in his 5-inning shutout. So let's bring him up.
Yeah, I think you need Sonny Gray back, first off. I think he is actually with the Louisville Bats right now doing his rehab stint.
So great to see both of those players.
So he should be rehabbing with them very soon, if not right now.
Mike Moskauskas as well as there as we speak. So we're hurt. We've been hurt.
You are. You are. And the thing is, I think your lineup is solid. Solid. I think Jonathan, India, and Eugene Suarez, they're a little frustrating at times, but I think they're solid. And you have absolute.
India is a rookie too. So
yeah, you have beasts in your lineup. Absolute beasts. Like Votto is obviously a lot older and stuff, but he can get it done. And just between Castellanos and Winker, you have two stars, like potential superstars. So you have stars. And I think right there, you mentioned it. I think it's the bullpen you have to bolster because with Sonny Gray coming back, let's imagine a healthy Sonny Gray. Luis Castillo might be the worst pitcher in MLB. So I'll keep that.
His last two starts have been decent.
I'll keep it blunt though. He's absolutely terrible. So I think he's lost 10 games this season. I think that was the last time I checked. I don't have it in front of me, but I think he's lost 10 games. We've played 75. This is a starting pitcher who pitches every 6 games, and he's lost, I believe, 10. So
he's 2-10.
That's so bad, and like beyond bad. Like the fact that he's in your starting rotation right now should not be the case. But with that being said, Tyler, is it Malley or Mayhill or something? Malley. He's been solid. You mentioned it before to me. Wade Miley's surprisingly probably been your most efficient pitcher. So
he's like 50.
Your starting pitching is not bad. It really is. If you imagine a healthy Sonny Gray and you take Luis Castillo out of there, because even Gutierrez is decent. I think you have a good starting pitching. Last year you could have had great starting pitching if you kept Bauer this year. But it's good. But your bullpen is absolutely terrible. Plain and simple. I absolutely cannot stand Sean Doolittle. I cannot stand Amir Garrett. I can't stand Amir Garrett. I think it's just a problem. It's a problem.
I think Garrett has gotten to be where he is a player that is familiar for us. Like, he's been in the brawls with the Pirates. He's been in a brawl this year. I can't remember who it was with, but it's almost like he's become a face for the Reds, and it'd be kind of hard to move from him. But he's blowing saves left and right. Like, I'm sorry, Garrett. I like you. I really do. And I think I'm falling victim to that, where I know you as a player and I want you to
I'll keep it real with you. Kenley Jansen, I love him. I feel the same way. And he is a much better closer than Amir Garrett. It's not even close. But at this point, I will tell you that if it frustrates me when Kenley Jansen's not as effective as he used to be in blow saves. Mm-hmm. So I think especially a closer, you have a decently short shelf life of dominance if you're not Mariano Rivera. So I think Amir Garrett's ran his time. I think Doolittle's ass. I think, the rest
Sims.
I think the rest of this, Sims has been injured, right? So
mm-hmm. Let me tell you the backstory on that. Sims, who pitched, who did we just play? It wasn't the Twins. I want to say, no, it's the Twins we won. I think it was. We just played a 2-game series with the Twins. And a pitcher came in. I can't remember who it was. It might have been Doolittle that gave up 2 runs. Sims faced 3 batters and gave up 3 runs. In the 8th inning, we gave up 5 runs, and we won the game 10-5, I think it was.
Right.
Like, that's stupid. And then the very next day, they say Sims is hurt. He's going on the 10-day IL instead of DL.
Right. Absolutely.
So, I mean, come on, guys. Like, instead of putting them on the IL, you need to assign them for something else.
Yep.
So, how do we fix it? Who do we get? Who would be that savior for us? I guess instead of going names, because it's hard. Like, I don't know. That's what baffles me so much is like, how do you say, hey, let's get this reliever? That's our go-to guy. Like, it's a reliever. Like, they're not good enough to be a starter, so you move them to a reliever. So how do you go and trade for a reliever?
To be honest with you, you'll be looking for a guy like Josh Hader, someone like that on Milwaukee, although you mentioned people don't like doing interdivision trades or,
and they're in the race.
Even a Chapman, dude, from I know it's a sore place in your heart right there, but even a Chapman I can see on the move. Even a Kenley Jansen, man. I think there's a lot of guys. I think Josh Hader he comes to mind because the Dodgers were potentially going to get him last year. I could see a guy like him coming in, and he has closed a lot of games in his career as well. So he can come in, be your 7th or 8th inning guy, and as soon as Amir Garrett blows enough games, you're able to go to him as your closer. I think that's where you look for a guy that's been a proven 7, 8, 9 guy.
And see, Garrett in years past was the setup guy, and he did okay as a setup guy. This is his first year as closer, and he has just been
right. It's a different world. Coming in as a closer, it's a ton of pressure.
So that's me. I hope that we're buyers because we're close.
I think so. I think you're a buyer too.
We're at least a sexy team now. Like, we may not win it, but people like watching us, and they like to bet on us because it's usually over 7 runs per games. We give it up or we score it.
I lost a lot of money on the Reds on that Brewers series when they swept them. I just kept thinking the Brewers were going to win. I'll never bet on the Brewers again. They're dead to me.
I tried to tell you. Did I not say the Reds? I told you.
The Brewers but they're not even a team anymore to me, to be honest with you. Like, they're just gone. They're just off the map. Like, there's one less team in the MLB now.
All right, so my last one is probably the most dear to you is the NL West, which has been a crazy event. You've got the Giants, who no one thought would be in first place. They are 48-26 with a 8-2 of the last 10 games. Dodgers, second place, 4 out of first. The Padres, 4.5 out of first. And then it's rock bottom, where you got the Rockies at 17.5 and the Diamondbacks at 28 games back.
Yep.
Obviously, the Rockies are going to try to sell Story. If they're dumb, they keep him and then lose him. But he is not going to be on that roster in 2022.
Yeah, I agree.
Which I think the Reds could use a shortstop and get rid of Suarez. I'm going to say it. I'm sorry, Reds fan. Please don't come at me. But Suarez the past 2 years has not been who he was when he won or was an all-star.
Right.
But that's not going to fix what we really have. But I'm just going to throw that after. Story.
Yeah, I think the Rockies are very weird. One of the worst road teams in the history of baseball. They are amazing at Coors Field.
Yes.
Just so crazy to see the disparity in how they are as a home team and on the road. I, again, have won so much money betting against them when they've been playing on the road. Plain and simple. Like, there's certain trends you follow, and that's just been one that's been amazing. 6-28 on the road. 6 wins, wow. 28 losses on the road. That is insane. Absolutely insane. With that being said, like you mentioned, the Giants deserve every ounce of respect in the world. Yes. What is this? What is happening? Buster Posey coming back was not supposed to.
Buster.
That's not the answer. It wasn't putting them to the level of perennial contender. And I think it weirdly has bolstered their team. The locker room presence that he has. Evan Longoria has been great. They're just as good at home as they are on the road. They're very consistent. They win closely fought games. They are a good team. And I think they hang on tight. I think this division is the one that you'll see sell the least. I think they're so loaded. And to be honest, I don't see a lot of buyers in this division either. I just see a lot of teams that are pleased with where they're at and believe they have a team that can compete, especially with the Dodgers and the Padres. Because, I mean, the Dodgers, what I love about them the most is that they do go out and go get those guys. But that farm system is what makes them so great. And, every year there's going to be another guy that comes up and contributes. I think the Padres are the opposite. The Padres haven't had a ton of success with their farm system, but they went out and completely bolstered this roster. Bringing in Yu Darvish, bringing in Snell, getting a lot of different pieces that they didn't have on this team. Machado playing the way that he's playing, he's still relatively new. And Tatis, who's just become the face of the MLB. So I think the Padres should be ecstatic with the team that they have. They have the Dodgers number this year. I'm pretty sure they've swept them twice now. If not, they've definitely won the series both times that I've remembered. Absolutely. I was at one of the games that we lost, and definitely super fun division. This is the division to watch because, I mean, think about this. The Rockies are 31-44. If they were in the NL East, for example, 31-34 or 31-44 is like 9 games back of first. So they wouldn't even be out of it. But, you're looking at the NL West. These guys are 17.5 games back. You're folding. And the Diamondbacks might be the worst team I've ever seen. So I'll be honest. Like, they may be the worst MLB roster ever fielded. It's very sad. As you respond to this, I'm going to look at what the worst MLB record of all time was, but I wouldn't be shocked. I would not be shocked if that's going to be them this year.
Well, what I think is most interesting about this, and I haven't talked about this stat in any other division, is the run differentials in the NL West. You got San Francisco with a plus 101. You got the Dodgers with a plus 96. San Diego plus 79. And then, of course, it falls off of the earth when you got Colorado and Arizona.
Sure.
Is a negative 109. So I just think it's crazy how – and I don't know how this is. I'm looking at MLB.com /standings right here, and it's got Dodgers in second place with a half a game. Oh, okay, I see what I'm saying. I'm sorry, I missed the plus sign. So they're a half a game plus in the wild card. So we could actually end up with 3 teams from this division.
To be honest, I think that's what's going to happen.
Which would be crazy. You've got San Francisco be number 1, and then the Dodgers and San Diego would be the 2 wild cards until – something crazy happens. I actually think, and you hear it for her, here's my hot take, if the Dodgers were to somehow fall underneath San Diego and lose a wild card, they will be a play-in game where the Dodgers will be in the playoffs somehow. Just saying. There will be a way.
I will tell you, the Diamondbacks have won 21 games, so they officially are out of the contention for worst MLB record of all time. It was the 1899 Cleveland Spiders. The Cleveland Spiders own the worst single season record of all time, minimum 120 games for all eras, finishing 20 wins and 134 losses. I could not imagine being a fan of that team that year or a player.
Oh, a minimum of 120.
Minimum of 120. So 20 wins, 134 losses. The Diamondbacks have won 21 games this year. So even if they lost the rest, they technically would have one more win than the 1899. Can you believe I'm talking 1800s technically here? So it's been a long time. I definitely think the Diamondbacks in my lifetime, yours as well, are the worst team I've ever seen.
Thank you. Yours as well. I know I'm a little bit old.
We're not too far off. Yeah.
Well, I think that has about got it really. Real quick question. Who you think is going to be in the World Series now? We're almost halfway. We'll just go that at you. Or how about who do you think wins each division?
Oh, I like that question. I will start with my World Series matchup. Okay. I think it's Dodgers and White Sox.
Okay.
I think Dodgers and White Sox this year. I think, I'll even give you a second one if that doesn't happen. I hate it, but I can see the Astros making it from the American League just with the way
they're looking hot.
I can see the way that they're playing. The Astros look really, really good. And for the NL, I'll give you the Padres. If it's not the Dodgers, I'm going to say it's the Padres.
Okay.
Yeah, I say for my plan B. If it's not Dodgers and White Sox, I think you might see the Padres in there, and definitely don't count out the Astros and the Rays. I think they're really cool. But I would say the Rays definitely win their division. For me, I think they're really, really good. I think we see a wild card from that division for sure.
I have a bet on this conference. Crazy enough, I have a bet with Connie, and I don't know if he really remembers saying this, but I told him I thought the Blue Jays would beat or finish above the Yankees.
Yeah, it's possible.
He told me he would give me 100-1 odds on that. So if I lose, I'll pay him $1. He pays me 100 if I win. So
I'm loving that. I'm loving it. So we got I like the Blue Jays. I got family in Toronto, Sox in their division, no doubt. Astros in their division, no doubt. Although the A's are going to give them a run for their money, and the A's are going to take a wild card spot. I'll tell you that one. National League, I would definitely say, give me the Nationals over the Mets. I think
especially right now.
I think that their postseason experience is going to really play dividends for them, and don't be surprised if the Mets or Nationals in contention for a wild card spot as well. I see the Cubs winning that division. I think the Reds are a feel-good story, and if they get healthy, that they can definitely compete for a wild card spot as well with the Brewers. But I do see the Cubs as that team. And I would say for the NL West, obviously, I want to say the Dodgers for sure for my team. But If not, it's going to be the Padres. I don't see the Giants sustaining this.
Okay. So you're thinking your plan A and plan B for the NL is going to be a wild card World Series winner.
Potentially.
Or World Series.
I think one of them's going to win the division. One of them's making a wild card, no doubt. And I think one of them is going to win the World Series. I can't tell you if it's going to be out of the division, but I do think that the NL West, if not winning, they'll be representing the National League for sure.
Oh, yeah. I would agree with pretty much everything you said, except for the Cubs. I'm going to stick with the Brewers. They're on top for right now, a half a game. I just feel like the Cubs are going to end up falling apart. It's been from the beginning, they didn't know if they were going to break this team up or what, and they're sustaining at the moment, but I just don't think it's going to fit. So I hate the Cubs. I'll admit I hate you guys, so I can't put my faith in them.
Right.
I agree with the Nationals. I feel like they're going to win. It would be a feel-good story if the Mets keep it up, but in which the Mets are plus 40, I think, in run differentials, and the rest of the league or division are all in the negatives.
Right.
As bad as I can say it, I think the Astros are the best-looking team right now in baseball. I like the White Sox. I said them from day one, so I'm still sticking with day one White Sox, but I wouldn't be surprised if we have Astros in the World Series.
Yeah, me neither, unfortunately.
What if we had a Dodgers-Astros World Series?
That would be the highest-rated World Series in the history of baseball.
Yes, and there would be so many slippage of the ball where accidental.
Joe Kelly would start a game.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So, well, Perry, I think that really wraps up our show. We're already over an hour and 35, which is way too long. But we're at the midpoint, basically, of the MLB 2021 season. So I think it was really good stuff to talk about with this bind. And so. I don't think we talked about the Teespring ad, did we?
Did not, yeah. So you go and hit that one. I'll throw some other ones in right after you.
Oh, man, let me see if I can find it. It's teesprings.com /unwrapped sports, correct?
It's teesprings.com, I believe, /stores/unwrapped.
Stores /
yeah, so that one you can go find all of our apparel, including Backstop Banter apparel. You can go find all types of great designs that we put a lot of work into. So go check that out. And remember, you get a discount there. Absolutely discount. If you sign up for our Patreon, you become a VIP for us. It'll be $1. You don't get any benefits to help us out, but definitely go sign up for our $5 and $10 tier. You can get 10% or 20% off for our shop. So that way you can go support us, look great, and get a little money off while doing so. And then again, you get into that Discord chat with us 24/7. We're talking gambling all the time, giving out giveaways, Amazon cards for both. You get a signed memorabilia piece contention for giveaway for every $10 month. So sign up. We love having that support there. It's very appreciated. And we are providing quite a lot of value. We're going to do a fantasy league for our $10 members as well. Maybe 5. We'll see. Where it's obviously free. We get a really big prize or some money at the end of it. So just perks like that where you're getting all types of great interaction on a daily basis, but a lot of things that we're able to try and carve out for you guys. So yeah, definitely go support us. Patreon.com/unwrappedsports. Also go gamble for us too, please. Yeah, go gamble. Be a degenerate like myself here. MyBookie.ag is where you're going to find all the best action. Go sign up with USN100 as your code, and you'll get a double deposit right there. You can go play basketball, football, baseball, live bets, casino, race bets, everything you can think of. You can find it at mybookie.ag with code USN100.
All right, Perry, do you want to give a shout out to anything that you got going on that you do? Again, your social medias and all that whole 9 yards.
Love it. Yeah, absolutely. I think find me at Perry Aston. Find the network, more importantly, at Unwrapped Sports, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Go hit subscribe. YouTube. Go follow us everywhere that you can. We got great content from great people. We're continuing to try and stretch the limits a little more throughout this year, get more involved, on top of our amazing weekly shows like this one right here. So please stay with notifications on too. We got tons of fun things happening all the time. And other than that, I've just been really proud of the team, and we're, really moving forward. And my biggest thing right now is that Patreon, support us. It helps keep the wheels rolling, and it definitely is quite fun to be in there as a consumer, and you get a lot of value. And if anything, you're buying us a couple cups of coffee a month, if anything, and we're giving you a bunch of stuff in return. So definitely a great gig. If there's anything I can ask from you this trip is definitely support us at Patreon.
I mean, if you just think about it, if you're in the Patreon and you got access to the Discord today alone, you paid $10 to get in there. You use your $10 to listen to Corey and Perry on your bet, and you just won $490.
Right.
So, granted, there are going to be some losses. We know that. You can't be perfect, but I say you guys are in the positive more than you are in the negative. So,
absolutely.
With that being said, always follow me, MDLawson00. That's TikTok, that's Instagram, that's Twitter, that's everything like that. Sports Me, which we haven't talked too much a lot about here lately. Go check all that stuff out. And again, like you said, YouTube, I can't express it enough. Subscribe, turn that notification on. Everything that we all do with Unwrapped Sports is funneled through that channel. So please go check that out. Do the whole 9 yards on that. And, of course, if you guys are watching this, go to your podcast, however you listen to it, Spotify. Follow this as well or subscribe to it. Give us a 5-star rating because that's what we deserve. Let's just be honest. We're awesome. So, again, Perry, thank you so much for co-hosting with me. Connie, if you're still on here listening to us, enjoy your vacation. Don't get arrested in North Carolina. Have fun. Don't lie about whatever the ball landed. Play it where it lies. I know how you would probably be. I wouldn't trust you for anything. But again, until we meet again, have a good night.
Thanks, guys.